The Street Fighter series have amazing characters, from the Shoto, the stables, Ryu and Ken, to insane fan favorites like Chun-Li. The Street Fighter roster is very healthy, but for me there is one character that is by far the most unique character throughout the entire Street Fighter series, and that is Menat from Street Fighter V. And Menat have a very special place in my heart. Not only is it because her walk cycle is amazing, seriously this is the coolest looking walk animation in Street Fighter history, not only because she is Egyptian like me, that already gives her extra point. And let's be real, like the Egyptian waifus in games are always like extra top tier. Like we have her, we have Farah, we have Zafina, I mean they're always extremely cool. But I'm saying this because Menat legitimately her gameplay is one of the most interesting and one of the most unique throughout the series. If you haven't played Street Fighter V, then Mura is here to tell you what makes Menat so unique. So Menat has this crystal orb, and the thing with her is that her moveset changes depending on whether she has the orb or not. And I know what you will tell me, Mura, that is nothing new, we have had stance characters before. Even in the same game we had Vega who had a claw on mode and a claw off mode, and his moveset would change. We had Gen in Street Fighter 4 and a bunch of other characters that have stances pretty much, right, where they will get different moveset. But what's so interesting with Menat is that she's not really like a stance character as much as she is a state character, because some moves will just toss the orb away and some will recall it. Menat's moves change drastically depending on if she got the orb or not. For example, her heavy kick. With the orb, this becomes this very long range Dhalsim like move that is really negative on block but is an insanely good anti-air. But without the orb, it becomes this insane plus on block pressure move. Her standing medium punch is this insane grounded poke with the orb, but without it, it's a plus on block normal. Her heavy punch is one of the most annoying crush counters. The BAM throws the orb at them and gets the CC. It was actually ridiculous, but without the orb the move have much shorter range, and it is -2 but it becomes special cancelable, so the properties changes a ton. Menat even have different special moves depending on if she got the orb in hand or not. So with the orb in hand she got the orb toss, she got the soul through, which is Rose Street Fighter 4 air grab, which is like really cool, and she have a fireball reflect. That is really cool. But without the orb, Menat has the recall ability, she has the soul explosion, so even the special moves will become different. And the properties will totally change as well, where the reflect will now become an absorb, but the reflect can reflect multiple hitting projectiles, where the absorb can't really, it will get hit. So there's a lot of dynamic in play here. And I know everything I've been saying so far have a lot in common with regular stance characters, but how Menat get to the orbless state is what's really interesting. Yes, Menat have some special moves that are dedicated to dispatching the orb, and by the way, Blonde Blazer crew rise up. Her orb toss, the light, medium and the heavy versions will throw the orb at the different locations, and once the orb is out, she's gonna have to manually recall it or go for the explosion to have it return to her hand. But what's really cool about Menat is that a lot of her normals will throw the orb out as well. For example, her jumping heavy punch, right? She's just throwing that orbs down there. The thing is, there is a brief window between the orb being out and the orb returning to Menat's hand. So for example, if you went for a shallow jumping heavy punch from a high distance and went for a grounded medium punch follow-up, you will get the orb grounded medium punch because the orb had time to return to Menat. But if you did a deep jumping heavy punch, she will be in a grounded state where the orb have not returned yet, and then you will get like the plus on block version. That is just so cool in how a character function, and that requires a ton of awareness from the player. And what I really loved about Menat is how she's balanced out to be really strong with the orb or without it. With the orb, Menat is very unique. You see, Street Fighter have a lot of long limbs characters, but typically the limbs will have hitboxes, so you can hit the long range Dhalsim limbs. You could hit the staff from Falk and she will get hit. You could hit poison out of her whips as well. But the thing with Menat is that her orbs didn't have a hurt box. You can't hit the orb. Even if the orb is out, this is not like a Guilty Gear Eddie where you can hit Eddie and he will return to Zato. No, you can't hit the orb, you can't hit the ball, you can't hit it, period. Which meant that Menat have insane insane normals with very too little hurt box, making her an insanely dominant footsies character. But here is the thing, if the orb was out, Menat lose access to some of her most insane normals, but in return, Menat gets something very special that very few Street Fighter characters have, which is every single normal Menat have, I think with the exception of the slide, becomes special cancelable, where it can be cancelled into the orb recall. This is tremendously powerful. Her sweep, which is generally will be like unsafe on block, will now become plus on block. Her overhead, which typically is unsafe on block, will now become plus on block and could lead to combo, and that goes for every single normal that Menat have, meaning that if you're sandwiched between Menat and her orb, this was an insanely tough position to be in, because any move she got, she can cancel it into the orb recall at any time, and that orb recall would be plus on block where she get to continue her pressure. And that's what I really loved about Menat. It allowed for a character that could be played in just Justin Wong style, where she's incredibly lame, or you can play her more with the style of Sako, where he's a little bit more aggressive, and you can try to press the situation by putting the orb behind the opponent and press them. She was just so cool. But by far the standout feature for Menat, probably the strongest thing about her and the most unique element I've ever seen in a Street Fighter game, have got to be her V-Trigger 1. Lights away! That thing was insane. So once Menat activated her V-Trigger 1, she would summon 6 different orbs, and each orb is tied to a specific button. Light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, light kick, medium kick, heavy kick. And you can toss out an orb by negative edging that button. So if I hold the light punch button and then let it go, she would let go of the light orb. And as you would expect, this gave Menat some insane combo potential, because any hit she does can be converted. Hey, you landed that slide, that annoying slide, now you get full combo out of it, hurrah! Hey, you landed that overhead, now you can land a full combo out of it. Hey, you landed a far range heavy punch, now you can let out an orb, time it so that you get a combo out of it. The execution monsters were having a blast with Menat, because she allowed so much freedom in your ability to convert. Here's the thing, Menat could release these orbs at any time. Let me explain. In Street Fighter games, typically your character will exist in one of 3 states. You're either in the neutral state, where you can pretty much do whatever you want, or you could be blocking, and if the character is holding a blocking stance, typically your inputs will not come out until you do like a drive reversal, or get out of block stun, or like a V reversal, whatever, right? Or you could be mid canned animation, and mid animations you can pretty much just commit to a specific cancel if the move allows for a cancel, like a normal that allows to cancel into super or a special, whatever. The thing about Menat is that in the neutral or mid canned animations, Menat was able to release the orbs. Say for example, you go for her super and the super is blocked, she is minus 46 on block, right? You get to punish her however hard you want. But here's the thing, although she can't move once she's in the recovery frames from the super, she can send out the orbs, which means that now this character that doesn't have an invincible reversal with the V-Trigger active, she actually has a plus on block invincible super. That was so insane, and the orbs allowed Menat to have insane shimmies. It allowed Menat to be able to punish V-reversals on block, and by the way, unlike drive reversals in Street Fighter 6, V-reversals were safe on block, but they were not safe against Menat. She was able to punish you with them if she had the orbs out. Menat with the orb was an insanely high execution character, the ones where you will see players like Sako doing the most mind-blowing mix-ups, the most mind-blowing combos, and just set play. She was an insanely fun, and to see characters that can be played aggressively, can be played lame, can be played as an insane set play character, an insane rushdown, she had so much player expression and so much utility, and she just played completely outside of the box, and the V-Triggered allow Menat to break every rule in the book, which, and honestly, was kind of awesome. One thing about Menat that's kind of funny is that the developers later on said that they knew her V-trigger was broken because on launch, this V-trigger was only like a 2 bars V-trigger, which is insanely strong in Street Fighter 5. So they said, like, oh yeah, we knew it was broken, but we just wanted people to have fun with it a little bit, which just goes to show you like like with the developers, sometimes they just want the players to have fun. So next time if you think that Mai is doing some crazy stuff, maybe the developers just want the Mai players to have fun. Who knows? Maybe it's not always about the balancing. What are your thoughts on Menat? Did you really enjoy Menat? Did you not? I would love to hear your thoughts all about her in the comment section below. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon, Discord, Twitter, and Twitch pages in the description. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe.